welcome back to Inside. I am here with Aging and In-Home Services. We're talking about nutrition. Here with Mary. Janelle has joined us now. So what can I do to help? How can Aging and In-Home Services help me with nutrition and my loved one?
We are fortunate to have Janelle as our resident dietitian, and she does nutrition counseling. So you maybe go to the hospital or to your primary care physician and they diagnose you with X, some disease. Well, then you have to have a diet. They'll probably hand you one as you walk out the door and tell you to follow it.
And you go, huh?
Yes, you go, huh. So then you call us. That's how you do it. As always, just call us. That begins the process, and Janelle then begins her work of helping you understand what it is you are eating.
That is an easy way to do it. I like that. I just get Janelle involved. So how do I know, that makes it much simpler. How do I know that my food I'm eating is nutritious? I mean, because everything I see at the grocery says it's good for me, but I don't think that that's really true.
That's correct.
So how do I know?
One of the first steps is to look at that nutrition label on your food. We are in the midst of an obesity epidemic, and the statistics state that there's over 40% of Americans are obese. If you combine the overweight and obese population, 2 out of 3 people are overweight or obese. So one of the steps you can take is to be more aware of the foods that you are eating and look at that nutrition label. And they've recently updated the nutrition label in part to help tackle this obesity epidemic. There's new science out there. They're changing kind of the recommendations of what we should and shouldn't be eating, and so that's reflected in that nutrition label. So one of the things you can do when you first look at that label, the first thing you'll notice is that the calories is like really big and bold. It's very obvious.
I don't have to do this to. This is me in the grocery store. I'm like, what does that say? I don't Yes, I don't get it. What?
So you can't miss it.
Okay.
It's big and bold. Another thing that I like is that they made the serving size a little bolder on the package, but they've also changed what that represents. It used to represent the serving size that we should be eating. Now they've changed it for the new label. It's going to be a more realistic representation. It's going to be what most people actually are eating as a serving size for that item. So an example I like to give is like if you were eating a little cup of mac and cheese, something you just heat and eat in the microwave. It might be like 10 or 12 ounces. The old label would say this is like 2 servings, or maybe even 2.5 servings, which is really odd. Yes. In the real world, that's what we do. We sit down, that's our meal. That's 1 serving. So the new label is going to reflect that that's a more realistic serving, and it'll say it's 1 serving and give you all the nutrients just for that full amount.
That makes sense, because the truth is, if we sit down with that Easy Mac, we're intending to eat the whole thing, and so if somebody just looked at the label, they might think, oh, well, that, I'm making up calories, that 400 calories that are on there, that's for the whole thing, when it wasn't. And so that's the problem. You're not taking into consideration. So that's probably a good change that was made.
Yes, I think so.
So what, you told us how it changed. What are some of the elements that we should really be paying attention to? You said that we should pay attention to the calories. Are there other things that we really need to pay attention to?
Another thing to look at, another thing that they changed was they removed the calories from fat. So that's not listed on there. And that in part is because the new research is showing that it's not so much how much fat that we eat, it's the type of fat. So it does list the saturated fats and the trans fats. So these are things we need to be tracking. You need to limit your saturated fats and try to completely eliminate trans fats. So again, it's giving us better information about what we're taking in as far as the food we eat.
Well, the food we eat can definitely affect the disease that happens in our body. So coming up next, we're going to talk about chronic disease and how nutrition affects that. Stick with us, we'll be right back.